Yeah, so welcome everyone to today's Friday study circle. Yeah, I think we can start with Chitra ji as always. Chitra ji, if you are,
Yeah,
yeah,
anybody also can share if they have some material they can read and share.
yeah,
Otherwise, I will start. No problem.
yeah,
I have readily. I have one.
yeah. That's good. So I think you start.
Which
If anyone of us wants to share, they can come
yeah,
after. Yeah,
as usual. The last time we shared no from the same thing actually, but this appealed to me a lot when I am reading it today. Uh, the same volume 4 of Collected Works of Mother and question answer session 1950-51. Okay, and same that about mother no comments on chapter 5 it is actually. I some of the things I'm leaving, but very important I felt I will read. Yeah, but there is one thing you must learn: never to rely on anyone or anything, whatever, except the divine. For if you can lean upon anyone for support, that support will break. You may be sure of that. From the minute you start doing yoga, I always speak of those who do yoga. I do not speak about ordinary life. For those who do yoga, to depend upon someone else is like wanting to transform that person into a representative of the divine force. Now you may be sure there is not one in 100 millions who can carry the weight. He will break immediately. So never take the attitude of hoping for support, help, comfort from anyone except the divine. That is absolute. I have never, not once, met anyone who tried to cling to something to find a support there. Someone doing yoga or who has been put into touch with yoga. This line appealed to me a lot, at least the touch. Yeah. And who was not deceived. It breaks, it stops. One loses one's support. Shall I stop with this? We can discuss, or I will go till the end.
yeah. I think you can go till the end. Yeah, after that.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Then one says life is difficult. It is not difficult, but one must know what one is doing. Never seek a support elsewhere than in the divine. Never seek satisfaction elsewhere than in the divine. Never seek the satisfaction of your needs in anyone else except the divine. Never. For anything at all. All your needs can be satisfied only by the divine. All your weaknesses can be borne and healed only by the divine. He alone is capable of giving you what you need in everything, always. And if you try to find any satisfaction or support or help or joy, heaven knows what, in anyone else, you will always fall on your nose one day. And that always hurts, sometimes even hurts very much. I have a lot of experience like this. Really, because thought will come, it is a harmonious, only love we are giving. What is wrong in it? No, we are not. I then after some time I'll realize it is not love, it is the expectation. If you love, then you will expect the same reciprocation from that person. If you are not getting, you will get hurt again and again and again. Only now I am settling down in that. Yeah, anyone can share. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Yeah, I think all of us, have experiences with falling on our nose when we have.
Yeah, very beautifully she said, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing which is also important is the line that you read, that I'm
Hmm.
talking about only those who want to
Yeah,
do yoga, who want
yeah.
to, not for the ordinary life.
Ordinary. At least that touch. Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel I have that touch at least.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is why that blows are coming. Otherwise,
exactly.
no. Yeah.
Yeah,
Otherwise, no blows you will receive.
yeah.
Uh, Even if you receive blows, you will reciprocate. I mean, you will give the blows again to them,
Hmm.
and it will be like
Hmm.
Yeah.
In ordinary life we would say ki yahi to hota hai, this is the way we live, so why should I stop doing that? I
Yeah. Correct.
In ordinary human consciousness,
Mm.
that would be my take, that
Yeah.
this is how everybody is doing that, everybody is depending on the other person, so why should I stop doing that?
Yeah.
Just
Correct.
look around. But now as we are turning within and we want to
Mm.
make life a learning field,
Mm.
then I say that I see that this is not helping anyone. It's very obvious that this kind of a relationship where one is always expecting from the other, and owing to my insecurities I depend on the other people for my own happiness, it is very very obvious and clear that it is not helping anyone. And then I can take it in this way, path of yoga, where I want to make things better for myself and other person. Yeah.
And also each and every minute you have to learn, and again the mind falls to that ordinary level of thinking, no? Even just before half an hour I heard a thinking like that. Actually, I heard someone at the age of 58 or 60, he suddenly died with massive heart attack. Immediately I thought of my husband, why he is doing like this. He's going running behind the desires, and even at the age of 62 he can come and sit at home. We should tell him, okay. My thought is going like, then suddenly wow, then I stopped actually. By mother's
Beautiful,
grace.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a very ordinary way of thinking. Once you
Yeah.
receive the news like that, the
Yeah.
mind is building
It's
the.
a, yeah, it's a default pattern that goes on in the head,
Mm,
and
yeah,
one just has to look at it and stop.
yeah,
I don't want to go there. I don't want to go.
yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
After, even after reading this, the
Yeah.
mind.
I think it's only after reading Chitraji that we begin
Yeah,
to even recognize that this
yeah,
pattern is going on.
yeah. Correct, correct.
Otherwise, I think that this is my life. This
Yeah,
pattern is my life.
yeah,
But now I can actually look at it as a pattern, and I see that
yeah,
I don't want to go there.
yeah,
I think it's good that we read and then we see it
yeah,
as something different from us. Yeah.
yeah. It's beautiful, really. The journey becomes beautiful now. After realizing, yeah.
Can I share something, Monica?
Yes, Gurpreet ji, please do.
Good, yeah.
Yeah. Monica, when Chitraji was saying, so I could relate to her, like expecting so much from everyone around. I mean, I was not at all aware of it. When I got married and all that time, I was very young. So, my husband, he's a very quiet, thorough gentleman. But I never understood this part of him. And like, I always used to complain that you never lend that hand to me. And even when I'm crying or complaining, I used to grumble about certain things, complaining. I never used to see him behaving the way usually we see husbands behaving around. I'd seen my brothers and all, there were examples in front of me. So I used to grumble a lot. So he would not react at all. He would be quiet. He would just say what was just needed at that time. So I often used to wonder, I used to get very miserable because I was expecting a lot, but I always found him very, very peaceful. And this, initially I did not understand this, and it made me more angry towards him. Why is he so peaceful and I'm becoming so miserable? Why do I need him so much? And that went on and on for many years. And then finally I started understanding his method and I started questioning myself, that why is it me, only me who gets miserable? And he's always happy, he's always peaceful. And he never used to find out any faults in me, never used to complain at all. So I often used to wonder what strength it is in him, that makes him not complain. Of course, I had so many, shortcomings in me, but he never came out with them. But I was the one, you know, I could see how good he is, but that only that little part where he was not able to, say apply balm on my insecurities or things like that. That I used to come up, not see his good part, and would always come up. Oh, you did not come and comfort me. It was like that. So, but later on, I realized that he was one very big person who came into my life, not to be there where I really, because that was where I really needed to, improve myself. So after that, I had a lot of gratitude in my heart for, I always say him now. And then came my children, both of them. So when the turn came, for them to leave and go outside for their career and studies. So there again, I was with a lot of expectations. But then by that time, I realized that that is all of my insecurity. It would be my selfishness that I would be stopping them. And that was a big challenge, which of course I took. And it was very, very difficult. And sometimes now also it becomes very difficult. And it's not that I don't have any expectations from him, but I feel I'm slightly better than before. And that gives a little bit of, I'm more at peace, when that comes. So I know this expectation part is really, it really makes you miserable. I know that. And even when we talk about fear of losing someone and all of that, I do realize that when we say, okay, I don't want to lose you, it's my own insecurity which makes me say that, because I know I'll not be able to live without you, right? But again, the strength that we need, that is what I'm working towards, So yeah, that's what I feel about
That's
it.
really beautiful, Gurpreet ji. The thing that you are sharing, that you wanted this balm on your insecurity, and he never became your handicap. He never gave you that handicap. I think that's beautiful. And if you can see it
Yeah,
this way, that's really
yeah, yeah.
beautiful, because love is empowering in nature. Love is not
Mm,
incapacitating. If I apply balm on your insecurities, then you become
mm,
solely dependent on me, that whenever you are insecure, I am there to comfort. Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
here is this fellow who, so called, if there is deep love, deep bond present, and he's almost indifferent to your insecurities. I think that indifference is actually love, because
Yeah.
he does not want to make you handicap on himself.
Yeah.
So that's really beautiful if one can see it that way. Yeah. And also, this thing about expecting, मुझे लगता है इसमें भी ना एक, I think we can expand here also, we can explore here. See, imagine that I really true love, if I talk of true love, which is courage, which is also wanting the better of all people around me all the time, and obviously of myself. So I will be actually pushing. It will be a gentle push, but I would be pushing. Sometimes it can be a harsh push also. So I think that हमको ना ये, we have to drop our little expectations, and we have to expect really hard from those fellows who we care about and who we love about. Because I know that you are sitting in front of me and this is not your highest potential. So what will I do? I will expect the better from you. I will expect even better from you. I will push you. I will push you. I will nudge you. And in whatever gentle ways, at times harsher ways. And this is a different level of expectation. This is expectation, but not for my selfish insecurities. This is an expectation because I know that you can be at a better place. I know you can be at a better place. So this is also expecting, but this is another level. So expectation per se, I would not say it is bad, but where do you use your expectations? Usually how I use my expectations is that I make the other person that you are responsible for making me happy, keeping me happy and contented. So I keep on expecting from you this kind of a behavior, that kind of a behavior. But now the expectation is not that you will make me happy or not. I want the best for you, the highest for you each moment of your life. This is another level that I have given to the expectation. So I think we can also explore expectations and demands in this kind of a way also, which is not hampering anyone's progress. जैसे शादी होती है, whenever there is a function happening, we always go to people's places and ask them to come, please Anna, we request them to come, come to my wedding, like that. So it's almost like that. So if I have deep love for people around me and I want them to also progress, then I will be requesting, उठा के उनको, poke करके, how gently, how, softly, whatever the way I want to use. Yeah.
Monica, that point you just spoke about, in my experience, it seems that the other can also then hear it as an expectation, or the other's ego can come flaring up against even what is offered as something that is meant to pull up or bring up. And
You're right, Swapna.
so is it just saying one can do that only for people that one knows to be open 100% to the yoga, or how does, what are the rules around it?
One has to be, I feel that one has to be very tricky here. Just like Lord Krishna was very tricky. He's, known to be very tricky. For truth, he will do anything. He will go beyond ethics and morality for truth. Yeah. So I have to be very tricky, that it's not like I am giving you advice and I know better than you, not coming from that space, not at all, because the ego senses that. And you're right, that the other person, it's just a direct hit of the ego then. But if I'm actually truly coming out of goodwill, then it would not be a hit. It would not be a hit. Yeah, it would be just a gentle push. The other person would not even know that you have done something to him. He would not get to know. Something like, imagine that some other person is very dependent on financial matters on me. Imagine, just let it. Now I want to make that other person little independent, that he can also survive without me. Yeah. So what would I do? I would say, today I cannot do this task. Can you do this, fill this form up for me, taxes or whatever, just like that. So it comes like in a way that, it's so tricky that the other person does not know what is happening, and he's able to get his strength back, almost something like that. That's just a little example. Yeah. Anyone, who wants to share?
Monica ji, Jishnu here. I wanted to read one letter. I joined, I think, 1 minute late, so I just missed the beginning part of what Chitra ji read. But there is a beautiful letter excerpt of Sri Aurobindo, dated 21st April 1933. And I felt that this resonated with what she read from the mother's message. It is the lesson of life that always in this world, everything fails a man. Only the divine does not fail him. If he turns entirely to the divine, it is not because there is something bad in you that blows fall on you. Blows fall on human beings because they are full of desire for things that cannot last, and they lose them, or even if they get, it brings disappointment and cannot satisfy them. To turn to the divine is the only truth in life.
Yeah, beautiful. I think it's completely in resonance with what we were discussing. Yes. Yeah.
There is a passage which I wanted to read, but then my screen of Zoom goes away. Can I read it out? Am I audible?
Yes, Jyotsna ji, please share. Yes.
It's there in the incarnate word, aspiration and the psychic being. It's the lower half which is read, which is spoken by the mother. There is one which is spoken by Sri Aurobindo, and one is by the mother. We'll go on the first, and then maybe next time on the second. Aspiration and the psychic being. The psychic being realizes its oneness with the true being, the Jivatma, but it does not change into it. The bindu seen above may be a symbolic way of seeing the Jivatma, the portion of the divine. The aspiration there would naturally be for the opening of the higher consciousness, so that the being may dwell there and not in the ignorance. The Jivatma is already one with the divine in reality, but it may want the rest of the consciousness to realize it. The aspiration of the psychic being is for the opening of the whole lower nature, the mind, vital, body, to the divine, for the love and the union with the divine, for its presence and power within the heart, for the transformation of the mind, life, and body by the descent of the higher consciousness into this instrumental being and nature. Both aspirations are necessary for the fullness of this yoga. When the psychic imposes its aspiration on the mind, vital, and the body, then they too aspire, and this is what was felt as the aspiration from the level of the lower being. The aspiration felt above is that of the Jivatma for the higher consciousness with its realization of the one to manifest. Therefore, both aspirations help each other. The seeking of the lower being is necessarily at first intermittent and oppressed by the ordinary consciousness. It has by sadhana to become clear, constant, strong, and enduring. The sense of peace, purity, and calm is brought about by the union of the lower with the higher consciousness. It cannot be permanent at first, but it can become so by increased frequency and endurance of the calm and peace, and finally by the full descent of the eternal peace and calm and silence of the higher consciousness into the lower nature. It's said by Sri Aurobindo.
Yeah, yes, thank you. It's almost like, this movement of the ego. For example, we talk about the tamasic ego, the rajasic ego, and then the sattvic ego. So the sattvic refers, in descriptions about sattvic ego, it's like a receptive ego, an ego that knows that it has to transform. And now it also wants, it's like open to be transformed, so it's open to the guru, for example. Yeah. And then people have said, masters have said that even the sattvic ego has to be let go of. So the last ladder, first there is tamas. There is no idea of growth, it's just tamas. And then there is wanting, there is a realization that, okay, there is missing something, and let me procure items and people in my life so that I become happy. And then out of realizations of our own life, then there is this movement to the sattvicity, which is receptivity of the ego, and then it realizes the futility of its efforts, that it has not been able to really get anything by all the efforts, whether running after money, running after power, which is the rajasic ego, the bhog vilas, all the consumption, consuming everything. And then we come to the sattvicity, that I know that there is nothing in my hands, and yet I also need to change and transform myself. So let me listen to those words which help me detoxify. So then we open to a guru or a master, or grace. And then slowly that also kind of completely gets dissolved, or it lets go of itself. so that this union is, as here it is said, in the last paragraph, the sense of peace, purity, and calm is brought about by the union of the lower with the higher consciousness. It cannot be permanent as was. So we will find ourselves moving like a pendulum from the lower, and sometimes peace, sometimes chaos, sometimes peace, sometimes chaos. So this is like a pendulum, we are moving here and there. But it can become so permanent by increased frequency when each and every particle of the being, it is convinced that this is the only way, there is nothing else that is fruitful on this path. So then all the hankerings, all the expectations for my happiness and contentment from external, even my own body is external, that is kind of slowly let go of. Yeah.
Till the last minute of surrender, that effort should be always there, no? It is continuous, yeah. Because it is by sadhana to become clear, constant, strong, and enduring. In this one line, he stressed about that sadhana, no? For all these things, that sadhana is required. Yeah. It is by sadhana to become clear, constant, strong, and enduring. Okay. Sadhana is what all we have to reject, and we have to aspire, and we have to surrender. This is the sadhana, no? Side by side, yeah. Rejection, aspiration.
This
surrender.
brings me to, I think it just in continuation in the flow, I will
Hmm.
share this little booklet that you were sharing, Chitraji, the other day on the Mother by Sri
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So I have downloaded the PDF and I was
Yeah.
going through it, and it's exactly, it's very clear. The description is
Yeah.
somehow very clear there. So I'll
Yeah.
just share it
Hmm.
here, the effort, the personal effort that you were talking of.
Yeah.
Just a second. It's very clear, this book. Swapna, I have shared this book with you, as the PDF. So if you ever get time. Let me just,
Sri Aurobindo condensed it, everything in that book, actually.
yeah,
All of-
yeah. So this is the book. I think I can also share it later on the Friday group, all of us can go through it. So this was just Chitraji, as you were sharing, now this is, if you open yourself on one side in part to truth, and on the other side, you're constantly opening gates to hostile forces, it is vain to expect that the divine grace will abide with you. So on one hand, I am saying I want peace, clarity. And on the other hand, I am again and again putting my hand in those dirty matters which have been a way for my life. All those thoughts which may take me into clutter, all those emotions which again, overwhelm me, people with whom whenever I enter into this conflict, they just, it's like a trap. It's a very sadistic trap. So Mother Sri Aurobindo is saying that it's not possible. Forget about it. On one side you want peace, and on the other you are actually thinking about it and going back again and again there, having wants from that relationship to be better and better. कुछ हो जाए वहां पे जो मुझे वहां पे कुछ ठीक ठीक हो जाए, ठीक ठीक हो जाए. So this will not happen, this will not happen. It's very clear again and again. Then here, yeah, if you call for truth and yet something in you chooses what is false, ignorant, and undivine, or even simply is unwilling to reject it altogether, then always you will be open to attack and the grace will recede. Now, attack is when I fall into suffering, when I fall into depression, when I'm unhappy, my mood has gone down. So, again, I have gotten back those hostile forces. A thought has come to me, I have been thinking about it, and it has taken me again into plunges of darkness. So if a thought comes to me and I know that whenever I think about me, it takes me into, darkness, I just do not have to think about it. It appears very simple and clear, but it's, we know that it's not at times. We are pulled as if to that thought. And Sri Aurobindo is very clear that you cannot ride on the both boats at the same time. It's not possible. Yeah.
That's why Alokda used to tell, this journey of yoga, integral yoga, is both delight and also both dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because each time, each minute, you have to be vigilant. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then again, in this few lines, he says, do not imagine that truth and falsehood. So imagine truth to be peace and falsehood to be confusion. Now, this both cannot be together. Conflict, misery, and peace cannot be together. Do not imagine that truth and falsehood, light and darkness, surrender and selfishness can be allowed to dwell together. Now, this is the purity that the divine expects of us. So we have to move constantly each day, every moment of our life, from a better purity, from one impurity to a better purity, that to a better purity. There is no end to this refinement. Yeah.
There's a lot of yo-yo that happens in life, which keeps swinging us. And
Yeah.
but then I realize as time passes and you keep telling yourself, the calmer spells become longer and the chaotic spells become shorter and more interspersed, means much, the gap is far more. So it goes towards a decline, but it doesn't go off yet.
Totally. And being calm, just to clarify, being calm, for all of us, being calm does not mean that the life will not be going up and down.
Yeah. Correct.
Life will be going up and down, but I will be riding the waves rather than getting swayed by them, which is usually for us the case. Yeah, very true. And then Sri Aurobindo is also talking about passivity, that we say that everything has to be done by the divine, so why should I move an inch? He says that the supreme demands your surrender to her, but does not impose on it, that tumhe karna hi hai. You are free at every moment till the irrevocable transformation comes, which is far away, to deny and to reject the divine, or to recall your self-giving. So every moment we have free will, whether to opt for the path of surrender or to opt for the path of ego. Every moment, this is the freedom that we have. And then he talks about passivity in surrender, that it's with your own effort that surrender would happen. And then he was talking on personal effort. Chitra ji, you were sharing about it. So the personal effort required is a triple labor of aspiration, rejection, and surrender, continuing process. An aspiration vigilant, constant, unceasing, the mind's will, the heart seeking, the ascent of vital, emotional being, the will to open and make plastic the physical consciousness and the nature. And
Everything
again,
is there, no? In these
everything is
three
there.
lines. Yeah.
Then rejection of
Yeah.
movements of lower nature, this thing that we are talking of, rejection of the mind's ideas, opinions, preferences, habits, constructions. So the mind has decided, if the relationship goes in this way, only then I will be happy. Now this has to be completely rejected, completely thrown off, so that the true knowledge may find free room in a silent mind. This we were also reading in Savitri. In a silent being, intuitive insights come or dawn upon. Yeah. Rejection of the vital nature's desires to be with one person in a one particular state, in a one phase of life. All those desires have to be completely let go of. Arrogance, lust, greed. And again, this appears hard. If I am living a life of ordinary consciousness, this will appear hard, because these are my sweets and candies. These are my sweets and candies. I have been living for them. But if I've just gotten a bit of taste of true peace in my being, then it does not appear that hard. Then I know that the other path that I have taken so far is a path of torture for me and also for the other person. Then it becomes a bit easier. Yeah.
The rejection of mind's ideas, no? Now the world is full with those ideas now, actually. Everywhere it is going on. No? Mind's ideas.
again, then she says to reject doubt, to reject fear. Mother talks about rejecting fear when it comes to
Yeah.
it. But what we do is we indulge in fear usually. Fear comes and I indulge in it because the ego wants to indulge in those, these things which like are a trap. So this completely has to be slowly rejected. No, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. And again, we have also talked about it earlier that if I do not have a worthy aim in my life, because there is a lot of time in my day, there are 24 hours, and life is like a crater. It's a big crater. If I am not filling it up with beautiful things which are worthy of my time, it is not possible that I will be able to reject fear and doubt and suspicion and all these things. Because if I'm empty, I will indulge in something. So what do I indulge into? Fear, doubt, confusion, all these, desires, all that. So I have to give myself something so huge to absorb myself that I don't have time left for these matters. Yeah.
If by grace, no, if we can read Sri Aurobindo's and Mother's works, I'm telling you that when you use that word huge, no, it is huge, really. But by grace, we should get that habit of reading the books and also going inside, yeah. Because marvelous it is actually. Each and every detail of life is touched by them, no? Actually, yeah.
On this these lines, we were talking of, again, we have touched upon this in many many sessions, that to have something uh, which is person independent, any activity or activities in my life which are not involving persons or people in my life. It could be, art for some people,
Yeah.
music,
Yeah.
reading is one
Yeah,
of
read.
them,
Yeah,
yeah,
correct.
anything which is not depending that okay, I will have happiness only when I'm socially interacting.
Yeah, correct.
That becomes our misery. We don't want to be with ourselves, we just cannot stand ourselves somehow. So if there is something that I have of beauty, of art, music, any activity, passion,
Yeah.
which absorbs me, which helps me grow on the path, and which also settles me in the process,
Yes.
I think that is very important. Otherwise, we are misery for other people, and other people will be misery for us.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You won't feel lonely. Yeah. Because sometimes there won't be time also. If we engage in all these things, no?
Also, this, mother talks of being a child, like,
Mm.
first of all, having a childlike trust, and also to be a learner throughout life. You guys are beautiful examples of, that, at this age, there is a
No,
willingness
yeah.
to learn all the time, to grow
Yeah.
forward. That also takes us a long way. Because in adulthood somehow we tend to settle down, कि बस अब मेरा हो गया, I am like this. So this tendency that always be unsettled and always be ready to grow forward, that also takes us really
Yeah,
forward
this
and
is
forward.
purely grace, Monica. Really, we take some steps forward, then grace will come and embrace us to go for more forward, more forward. Yeah, this is surely grace.
It comes to a stage where you start to feel that time is not enough. It's too short. 24 hours, out of which 7 to 8 hours you're sleeping. You could have read so much. So every time you feel it could have been a little longer, automatically, things like watching the television, browsing, social media, they all go suddenly and take a backseat. And then you like to spend time doing things where you can be with yourself. I mean, you can just be silent and not have to reason out or use your, how do you say, your mind, your vital or whatever anywhere. You just go on to that level and then automatically one calms down. And then you feel, no, but I don't have time. I have to sleep now. Time falls short.
Yeah, yeah. So anyone who wants to share, who hasn't shared so far, Shreya or Badalji, Nandini, anyone who wants to share, Jishnuji, if you have something more to share, please unmute and share.
I don't think I have anything to share. I mean, not, I haven't read anything that I could share. Just in the beginning, what you and Chitraji were talking about, I mean, I've been having a foot pain this morning, and I've been just trying to remind myself every minute that my usual self would be, going crazy, trying to fix it, trying to, do 10 things and worrying about it and cribbing and complaining and feeling sad. Oh, another health issue. But since today morning, I'm just been like, okay, I let go of it, divine will take care of it. It's fine. And I've just been, my pace has slowed down, of course, because there's pain in the foot. So I'm walking slowly and doing things slowly. But I'm also enjoying that slowness. So now there's no rush. It is there. Yes, it's there. It will go when it will go, but nothing is stopping because of it. And I'm not sitting and complaining and crying and feeling upset or anything. So today's been has been a good day in that sense that I've been able to stay in that space and not, how we say, be taken over by the vital and the mental story.
Beautiful, beautiful. Mother talks about pain, physical pain. Mother talks about, I am forgetting the exact paragraph. There she says that if you stay with the pain, go use that intensity of the pain to go deeper within, almost it reverses into Ananda. Mother talks about the pain changing into Ananda, pain changing into bliss. So I got reminded of that when you were sharing, that it is definitely a
Yeah,
possibility.
your whole session is there. No, it's in YouTube. That pain and suffering, about pain and suffering, you took a whole session. No?
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful it is actually.
Pain
I
is
used to
auspicious.
watch.
That one, pain is auspicious. That one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pain. No, you were saying all in all your sessions you quote mother's writings systematically actually.
Acha, that is
there.
from the core of pain and suffering. Yes.
Yeah. Is there?
Yeah, there it is. Yes.
Mm.
I think इसमें मजा आता है. This is Shreya, this is what maza, we talk about Satchidanand. This is the masti that you got pain. You know that now you cannot do anything but accept it. Accepting it is too late because the universe has allowed it in the body. So you are too late to accept. Yeah. So the only thing that we have to stop doing is to stop resisting. And there something transmutes itself, and it's a little baby example, but I think it's a beautiful, very powerful example that you have shared. Beautiful.
Monica, is it on your YouTube channel? Pain and Suffering Wala, which Chitraji was mentioning?
Chitraji is mentioning about our pain and suffering course.
Okay.
And I usually, not of this time, the courses from the previous times, two batches have been completed. The third is currently going on. तो वो वाला जो सारे audios recordings हैं, I have been putting them on YouTube. I think she's referring to that, because there we go through texts by the mother and Sri Aurobindo.
Yeah, that
Okay,
one. Yeah.
okay.
Yes,
I
yes.
watched it, the whole series. It is very beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monica, a bit like Shreya, I don't have a passage to share, but I think for me, I noticed like it's the start of this weekend, and it's the trust, to be really exploring what is it to be like really trusting, not just in my mind or at a belief level, yet to I guess it goes so hand in hand, the trust and the surrender, but like really ultimately, like in the free fall of unknown, and the willingness to live life differently, and yeah, just to not hold doubts about it or conditions against it, and all of it. Yeah, it really does seem to require moment to moment like diligence, and it's like that razor's edge, it's like just one little teeter or totter and you can go to the other side, and then you've lost it, or you're back in mind, or back in worry or doubt or fear. Or doubt especially can be so mild, it can be so mild just sitting there in a tiny little corner, but just on that kind of very very fine razor's edge, then there's a sense of like grace and allowing. For me, it isn't so much the physical pain, nothing more than the usual is in the body, but in terms of the mental having an effect on the physical, right? And that, just to let it, can I just give it space? I think you've said sometimes of like, a room doesn't mind when a chair is brought into it, and the room doesn't mind if the chair is taken away, but putting that not for even like the pain that can come from fear or doubt or worry or any of those, just like, okay, if they come, then just let them have the space. And then in noticing the space, it's okay. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, Swapna. Yes, I see an unfolding, ready. You're like, it's like on the threshold, ready. It's a beautiful life. We all love newness. Whenever new movie comes, or something new is happening, we love newness. But somehow the way we begin to live is, we just want the old again and again. We just want the old again and again. Somehow it happens with us. Now this, the path that you have so beautifully clearly talked about, this is opening myself to the unknown, the unfolding of life. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? I think that's really beautiful. What the mind is afraid of is letting go of the known. Only known, because I've been sticking to the known. I don't know of any other way but to stick to the known. So that's why fear may be there, doubt may be there, confusion may be there, worry may be there. And very truly, you have beautifully explained that just give it a chair, give it a chair in the space of your room, and do not listen to the dictates of fear, doubt, confusion, worry, anxiety. They can all sit there, but you're not going to follow them. That allows you and them a lot of space, and you see that slowly they lose grip over you. Slowly your this adventure spirit becomes the king of the being. That I am ready to adventure no matter how many times I will fail. Now this connects me with Kabir says, Ram mile thane kaun hatke. Who can stop you if the divine is with you? This is the divine spirit. This adventurous spirit is the divine spirit. You love adventures, you say that you love adventure sports, whatever sports you like to do. This is adventure. That is physical adventure, and this is adventure for the mental, emotional, all the parts of the being. So more power, to all of us who are wanting to walk on this domain, this uncharted territory. Yeah.
If I may, Monica,
Yes.
I had a thought. I often talk about children, you know, and your experience with like children being fearless, right? And seeing that, you know, I've always believed and thought, oh, I have trust, I have faith in the divine. Oh, that's my ultimate, everything from passion to commitment to that's what keeps me supported. And then seeing, right, like all the ways that I actually shoot that down, or all the ways that I'm not actually authentically believing and living it out. And then thinking about kids, like again, in relation to this trust, right? And it's like little ones, right? Just learning to walk. So often they have this big smile on their face, right? And they take these 1 or 2 steps and then they topple over. And they usually don't hurt themselves. They just bounce up, or they try and get up again. And again, just such a joy from these tiny, tiny little steps, or even half a step or 2 steps, and then they've fallen over. And it seems like to come to that freshly, you know, just to be like, yeah, to be authentically like new, coming towards real trust in the divine. Like I just take a short period, like this weekend, you know, just Friday to Sunday, like just go forward like that with the big smile that a toddler has.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, yes. And you know, the little ones, the extremely, you know, the ones that you're talking of. So if the parent does not say, oh my God, you have fallen, they do not bother about falling. So our fall into ignorance again and again, you know, we will keep on doing that for God knows, you know, what time. So we don't have to mind that at all. We have to stop minding it. We have to we have to stop feeling guilty and, you know, shameful about it. Yeah. And that saves us a lot of time. So beautifully, you know, the description that you explained, beautiful. If we can have that childlike trust that no matter how many times I fall, I will take those 3-4 steps and then, you know, go on, move on and on. Beautiful. Yeah. They don't mind, you know, falling. Little ones don't mind falling. They don't mind falling in dust, dirt. You know, हम बड़े लोग कहते हैं कपड़े गंदे हो गए. They don't mind it. They have no problem with that गंदा होना or not गंदा होना, पैंट फट गई कि क्या फट गई, you know. They don't mind it. They may cry for a while. You know, if it has physically hurt them, they may cry for a while, but it would not be a cry that, oh my God, why did it happen to me, you know, and poor me. And that the pity that we fall into often as adults, that is the beauty. You know, there is so much beauty about children. I can be with children, you know, and watch them for hours without, you know, getting bored at all. And thankfully I have 2 at home. With them I don't watch them for hours. But you know, the others around. But again, you know, I have a little blog also where I keep sharing their stories, you know, these 2 little ones at home. So they are just truly adventurous. They want to make all kind of blunders, ready to do all the blunders, mistakes, not to take anything, any label on their head, whether it is a good label or the bad label, and going on and happy with themselves. You know, it's us adults who are not happy with ourselves. You know, children are content with themselves. And no matter, nowadays they're not going to school, you know, and I see that they don't even want to go to school. They are so content with themselves. They are learning. Whenever they want to read a book, they get up, you know, read a book. Sometimes I put them to work, you know, writing something, practicing something, and that's enough. They are involved in whatever, you know, almost what we call as play therapy. You know, in adult language we call it play therapy, that in play you learn. Through play you learn. So that's why I think they would say Leela. You know, in Leela we can learn, in Maya we are suffering. Yeah. So anyone else or anybody who wants to share last few minutes, you know, 10-15 minutes more.
Yes,
Adding to
I was reading one book. This is the Philosophy and Practice of Integral Education by Ramesh Bijlani. It's a handbook for teachers and parents. In that, in the opening, the Sri Aurobindo's quote has been given, and it was taken from the Human Cycle. So Sri Aurobindo said, a rational education means necessarily three things. First, to teach men how to observe and know rightly the facts on which they have to form a judgment. Secondly, to train them to think fruitfully and soundly. Thirdly, to fit them to use their knowledge and their thought effectively for their own and the common good. So the basis of the education from the beginning actually. So we are from the different background and not followed the unique method how to get properly educated. So the freedom for the child is lacking because the parents on their own and the teachers and everybody, the society, which are the atmosphere which we are creating, and in that the child is growing. So there's rational education if it is to be universal. So these are the points has to be kept in mind, and we have to make the environment such that we had been talking about the learning. There is no end to learning. We can up to the last breath we can learn, but we should be open. My mind should not be blocked. Uh, I should be open to any learning. So, like any new thing comes, so I must accept that, and then with my knowledge or with my this thing, then I can think of, and we can see that whether yes, how's it before I pass the judgment, whether it is good or bad, or it should be propagated or tolerated, or can be used for me or for the society, like that. Anything on this?
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Badalji. I think this is the book that you were referring to. It's available on Kindle Unlimited for those of us who wants to see. Uh, yeah, I have a few story books by for kids by Ramesh Bijlani, and they're really very beautiful, very beautiful. You know, the practical implementation of uh, words by Mother and Sri Aurobindo for day-to-day life. Yeah, exactly. This is the one. Yes.
He's from Delhi Ashram, no? Ramesh
Yeah,
Bijlani.
from Delhi, Ashram.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So, it was not available online, and all. Finally, I had to request somebody at Delhi or some of my
That's
friend.
right. Yeah, yeah,
And it's a wonderful book, and it is
yeah.
must for any parents or teachers. It is must
Beautiful.
actually.
Beautiful. Yeah.
It's a very small book,
Yes.
and it's a handbook,
Yeah.
but it covers all important points,
Very
which are
nice.
good.
Yeah. Good to know about this. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Yeah. For those of us who have Kindle, and if you want to read the book, you can search it online. This is available on Kindle Unlimited. On those of us who want to buy it, it must be available online. Yeah. Beautiful. Mother talks about, children, and she says that a maximum of freedom and a minimum of rules. So rules are required, but then there has to be a lot of space, free space for the nurture. But it's not that it has to be a wild outgrowth. So the rules and a bit of discipline is a must. And I think one point Mother talks about that when you begin to tell to the child that you must do this and you cannot do that, there begins the training of the child. So the training also has to be done. It's a very delicate balance. It's not that the child has to just grow like weed. So the discipline and the rule also have to be there, but again a lot of freedom and self analysis, a space of that, space for that, space for his own mental formulations, his own capacities to think. That also has to be there. Yeah, lot to learn there. Yes. one thing which I was so yesterday, day before yesterday, I was just wondering about the condition here, about the virus and all that. And I was talking to my kids and I said that let's 2 days ago I said that jab bhi soenge, whenever before sleep we will do this prayer, that everyone should be well, and we'll pray. They know about the mother, so I can talk about the mother to them. So so we were taking our time out, lying down on the bed, and we were trying to pray. And then Chinmay said, my elder one, he said that I did not pray the thing that you said, I prayed something else. So I asked him, what did you pray? Tell us. So he said, mother, do whatever you wish, whatever feels the right to you. And I said, oh my God, we have to, I think better go there. So then we said, okay, I think this appears beautiful. Let us, then we all did that prayer that mother, whatever you feel is right, please make that happen. So I think they have such, good humor along with that.
Beautiful, beautiful, really.
Yeah.
This is the real philosophy.
Yeah.
Can't believe, no? Yeah. Yeah.
So anything else from anyone before we close? Nandini, you haven't shared at all today. Patiently listening.
Listening today.
Okay. So shall we call it a day? I think usually I try to keep this 1 hour because we've already, touched upon bits and pieces of writings. We can chew upon it, ruminate upon it, not to just extend it too much. Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank you,
sharing.
Monica.
Thank you. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
you,
you.
Monica.
Thank you to
Thank
the
you.
group. Thanks, Monica.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Monica.